Okay, welcome back to our Life Group Leaders Lounge podcast and video here. So welcome. Thanks for being back with us here. We are here as a group to equip and inspire you to be the best Christ-centered leader you can be. And I'm joined here as usual with our team. We got Braden and Raquel. Braden at Scripps Ranch, Raquel here at Ocean Beach. And we're happy you're here with us today. So today's topic is we're going to be jumping into facilitating a group discussion. Yeah, that's actually, if you didn't know, that's one of your 4 main life group responsibilities as a life group leader. Yeah. And so we thought maybe it'd be best to jump into this topic with discussing the why. Yeah. Why is being a facilitator of a group discussion so important as a life group leader? What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, I think that, on church, when you show up in church on Sundays, we're sitting in rows and we're looking at the pastor. But life groups, we're sitting in circles. And so it's inherently meant to be conversational. And
yeah, for sure.
Everybody is showing up we want to grow spiritually, and we want to grow together. And that happens through conversation.
Yeah. I mean, there aren't many environments where you get to process through your faith in the way that when you have a conversation or a discussion format. And some people, when you show up to church, you are hearing a more like a one-sided version. It's a monologue, even if it's a conversational
teaching.
Preacher.
Yeah,
teaching. Yeah. And then you might go to a lecture, or you might read a book, and that's still one-sided or whatever. And so in the group format, what's so valuable is this chance to say, I read that, I didn't really understand that. Or like, hey, I had this thought, what do you guys think? It's a chance to process through as you're growing.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. And there's a bit of a spectrum when it comes to being a life group leader and when you're leading a conversation, right? Because on one side of the spectrum is you as a life group leader talking for like 45 minutes, right? Yeah. Where you're basically you're like preaching to your group, right? That's not what we're talking about here.
Right.
On the other side of the spectrum is really not having anything planned and just kind of saying, well, guys, what do you want to talk about today, right? Like, that's not what we're talking about either. We're talking about finding that middle ground of being able to have great content to discuss and being intentional by inviting others to participate in that conversation.
So there's a right level of preparedness.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So why don't we get into, for our leaders, just some practical tips, just so you guys have employed in your life as a leader about how to get great conversations started. Okay. How can you facilitate those?
Well, speaking of preparedness, I mean, I do think it's good to come with like you said, a plan of action and have some content. I think most people get that. They get that, you know what? Yeah, we read a book together, or I do prepare a Bible study, or we listen to a Right Now Media video. Right. But then I think that next level that it gets and unlocks a lot of conversation is when you prepare and write out specific questions. And I'm talking about the kind of questions that get them into the heart of the matter. Yep. So not just like, so we watched this video, what did you think? What did you get out of it? And it's I liked it a lot. It was very good.
Yellow. I like the color yellow.
What's the right
I like
answer?
when he said the thing. Yeah.
I like that movie too.
Yeah. Like, and
Independence Day. I like that one.
I think as someone trying to facilitate discussion, it can be challenging because here it is, you want to not put like constraints on what people want to say. Right. But when you're preparing questions, you're actually giving them freedom to be like, oh, that's what you're getting at. That is a thoughtful question. Yeah. That is something I was thinking about. And so the more specific and pointed, you're actually going to draw people into the conversation.
Yeah, that's rad. That's good. That's a good tip. Definitely big.
Yeah.
Raquel?
I think my biggest strength, I feel, is being flexible and being able to read the room. So being prepared, yes, I have to work on that. That doesn't flow as easily as having that flexibility and really reading the room. So that means when I know somebody is kind of maybe struggling with something, or I can tell that they're, hey, friend, so, what did you think, or how, like, let's process this together. Also knowing we have those members in our groups who process quietly, so they don't, it's not that they're not engaging, and it's not that they're not with you thinking, they just process quietly. So that's okay. Let them. Not everybody necessarily has to speak if you aren't going that direction.
Yeah, you have verbal processors, and you have people who are like, you can tell they're internalizing it.
Yes.
And that's, like you said, it's totally okay. My wife is one of those people, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think part of being the flexible you're talking about, Raquel, too, is like, if you've got, like, let's say you prepared 5 points. You just watched the Right Now video, and there's like, you got like 6 great questions, and you ask one question, and the group is like so set on discussing that one question, like it really struck a chord in their heart.
Yeah.
Then as a leader, like you have the total freedom to just hang out on that one question the whole time. Like I feel like at times when I was younger, in my experience being a life group leader, I felt the need to get through all 6 or whatever the amount of questions. But sometimes I find that, in my life group that I have right now, my men's group that I have, sometimes, we'll have 2 chapters where we're supposed to discuss, but we will get through like half of the first chapter, and that will be the whole time, because there's something in it right there that God is doing that he wants to work on in our lives.
So not to rush over it.
Yeah, for sure.
So Spirit-led. Spirit planned.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Which I think sometimes people use that phrase as a means to like not be prepared, but hear what we're saying.
Yeah, true.
No, not you. Not
I
you.
would, but
because,
no.
Well, no, that's the cool thing. Raquel is actually a prepared person, and for people who don't know, you do plan, but like the Spirit-led component where it comes in is like the amount of like letting the Spirit lead you in the preparation, but then letting him lead you in the moment to where he's like, but see where I brought you into this moment. Don't rush it. Do you see how that person really needs to talk about this? Or do you see how that person's having a light bulb moment?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Dive deeper into that.
Yeah, I feel like that would be almost a good habit to have as a leader before you go into group. Just saying like, Lord, like help me be sensitive to your Spirit with what you're doing as we discuss this content. Because the content is so essential and important. But if people are wanting to just really dig their teeth into a part of it because it's really struck a chord, then ask God to give you wisdom of like, all right, this part of the content is the most important tonight for our group, and that's okay. That's really essential.
I mean, and everyone actually wanted to ask you about this, Brooks. I know you've been reading a lot on discernment and everything, but like, I feel like there's a piece of this too with facilitating discussion. It takes like discernment on the spot of knowing how to like, do we go further into that? How do I navigate the tension here?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, what role does discernment play in facilitating discussion?
That's a super good question. I would say that I think you get better at it the more you do it. You become more sensitive to what the Spirit is doing in those moments. I even find myself in the middle of while someone is talking, I'm asking God, like Lord, show me what this person is really asking in this question. Yeah. Or God, I feel like this person is really hurting right now because of this topic. So how can we as a group support them in this moment? Yes. So I think prayer is key. And then just being sensitive to kind of what God is doing with the other members of the group too. Because if people are locked into something, then for you to just change gears and take them out of it when you feel like there's so much more to discuss, I feel like you're now out of step with what God is doing in the group that night. So I find that just being prayerfully ready before, but also in the moment, just being sensitive to what the Lord might be doing, and just throwing out your own plans out the window, I think is really, I found it being super fruitful in the lives of the people that I help lead. Yeah. That's a good question.
Yeah,
really good
absolutely.
question.
And I think to add to that, something I'll often do if I can see it in their eyes and I can see people are wanting to share, but maybe not necessarily taking that first step. Nate and I, my husband, we co-lead the group. We'll play off each other, and we'll give each other the look. One of us will share first, and we will be vulnerable or say, oh, "This is what I think about it," or "Honey, what do you think about it?" And once we open up with that vulnerability, it definitely sets a safe environment for others to do the same.
Well, what sounds like it's happening here, and I love this, is like the better you understand the people, so the more relational you are with the people in the room that you're facilitating the discussion with, the better prepared you'll be to actually know how to navigate that. We're saying, hey, you know what? I know how that person processes, or like, hey, I know that the best way to do this is to lead the charge. And so building relational equity really helps you facilitate better discussions.
Totally. As you guys are talking, there's like one more tip I just want to share I think would be really helpful. It's like, don't rush people before they are ready to be vulnerable.
Nice.
Right.
Like, you really don't want people, like, I feel like as a life group leader, sometimes you go into a group thinking, I've got so many good questions to ask. I've got like some deep things I want to ask. And then if you don't have that relational equity, like you mentioned, Braden, like, you'll run into a wall with people before they're ready to really share and open up. Like, so when you're thinking about the group that you're leading, it might take a couple semesters to ask a question that you want to ask now. It might take a couple semesters before your group will be ready to answer that, right?
True.
So that comes with wisdom, that comes with discernment, with what God's doing, but also comes with knowing your people, that it takes time to develop trust. And that happens when you have a healthy group that is able to discuss things without feeling like their answers are going to be ripped apart, or without feeling like they feel unsafe to share because they don't even know the people in their group yet, you know? So creating a safe environment takes time. It doesn't happen overnight. So don't beat yourself up or feel frustrated if you don't have the type of intimacy in your group that you want yet. That's something to strive for, to pray for.
Well, and that's something that comes over time, especially because sowing love into your group means that love is patient, as 1 Corinthians 13 says. So if love is patient, then to unlock that vulnerability with someone else means it requires patience to unlock that.
Dude, that's rad. That's really cool. That's awesome. Well, I feel like it's been a great conversation.
Yeah.
Really good
We
conversation.
facilitated conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. Way to go.
Modeling it for people. That's good.
So, hey, thanks again for joining us. Our heart's desire is just to equip you and inspire you, and just we want you to know that we pray for you as leaders, and we know that God is working through your life. So we hope this has been just a great blessing for you. I want to throw out one quick announcement. We are having a really, I'm excited about this, a life group leader training, all campus life group leader training on Sunday, April 11th at 1 p.m. We're going to be having free food for you. So come check that out.
At the Tier-Santa campus,
At the Tier-Santa, thank you. At the Tier-Santa campus. And we're going to be talking about how to shepherd and care for your groups. And we'll give you some great helpful tips. And we're going to have some giveaways, and it'll be super cool, really fun. So make sure you sign up for that. We'll send you a link for that in an email. And also you can go to our events page on our website and find it there. So thanks again for joining us. See you soon.